nyt lähdössä Bangkokkiin.
Right. Yeah.
Meidän lento on tunnin varmaan ainakin myöhässä tässä. Jouduttiin ostaa lentoliput 3 kertaa uudestaan, koska pelattiin ne jonkun kivisivuston kautta ja ei ole hyvä juttu. Our plane is here.
Paska.
Tosiaan Krabin lämpöä ja toisaalta sadetta lähdetään vähän pakoon tonne Bangkokkiin, missä pitäisi olla sitten aikamoinen helle päällä ja hyvä meininki. Nyt Bangkokkiin, nähdään siellä. Nyt on tähän meidän ekalle kämpälle saavuttu. Ollaan Julianin kanssa 5 päivää tässä ainakin ja sitten sen jälkeen mennään vielä, tai mä varmaan varaan sitten kämpän ja mennään sinne ja sitten Julpa lähtee tuossa viikon loputtua ja mä jatkan mun reissua ainakin pari viikkoa täällä. Mutta tässä keskellä pilvenpiirtäjiä, kyllähän tässä ihan maitto saan olla. Että siellä oli alakerrassa pikkulat vastassa ja kunnon turvatarkastukset ja muut, että ainakin hyvä meininki muuten täällä kämpässä.
Alles gut.
Uusi aamu workout. Tänään kuvaillaan Julianin kanssa teille vähän pientä videoa. Tässä viime video oli sen verran tykätty ja Julianinkin sai sitä kautta useita yhteydenottoja, että päätettiin, että tehdään pari videoa lisää, niin olkaa cool. Eins, zwei, drei, let's go. Welcome, Julian.
Yeah, thank you very
Again.
much. Pleasure to be here with you.
Again on my channel.
Yeah, or on mine.
Today we are in Thailand with Julian in Bangkok.
Yeah, we're in Bangkok. Very exciting city, great rooftops, and crazy people, man, I can tell you.
Yeah, and today's topic we have how to make your first 10K a month, which Julian will cover soon because he's the expert of freelancing, as you know.
The goat of freelancing.
As he will soon to be. But well, after the last video we had with Julian, there has been many questions through our socials about the freelancing stuff, and that was interesting to many of my followers. So I guess we will have a part 2 about this topic, and we will go a bit more deeply to this 10K a month goal and how to pursue that.
Yes, because the first $10,000, in my opinion, are really the best, and yeah, it changes your life. I mean, after 10,000, you just spend it on stupid things that are basically wasted 99% of the time. But once you make the first 10,000 or something like that as a freelancer on your own, meaning you control your time, you can travel the world, that's really when your life starts to turn to the good life.
Yeah. At first, let's dig into the mathematics before we go any deeper on this topic. So 10,000 a month, it's like 120K a year, right?
Yes.
So if we go to the mathematics, what do you need for that?
I would say the best, generally as a freelancer, you should only have maximum 5 clients, ideally 3 that pay you 5,000 per month or something like that. Because if you have more clients, you just waste too much time sending invoices, following up with payments, and just all the administrational stuff. And also, if you only have 3 clients, you can really focus on their branding, messaging, can identify more with the product. So I would say 3 to 5 clients and at $3,000 per month to $5,000 per month. Of course, you can go higher, but you shouldn't go less than $3,000 per month, because then you will just spend too much time with sending the bills, following up, attending stupid meetings that you don't want to attend. It's the truth. So yeah, 3 to 5 clients at $3,000 to $5,000 per month is all you need, and with that you're very well off.
Yeah, and if we of course you have many types of models that you can start with.
Yes.
So, but that's the ideal one. But if we break it down, okay, if you want to make 10K a month, you can have 1,000 paying clients.
Yeah.
And that's about your packaging. So let's dig, like I think the first topic is the offering you build.
Yes, definitely. I think if you have a great offer, the offer is something you really need to nail before you should scale or like get a couple of clients. So you really first should find one client that pays you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then you fulfill the work and he's actually happy. And once you have that combination of the perfect audience and also the perfect offer, then you can start landing more clients. But the worst thing that can happen to you is that you sign 10 clients on a service that they don't need, and then they all fire you and request refunds after you already put in all the time and work.
Yeah, true. But you can start with like such many models. How did you start like first, and what do you prefer? Like, is the case really that you can like when you are first starting and you're a bit unsure about your offering? That's like a basic case. Is that really where to go, like to ask 3,000 a month, or can you do it like?
I mean, it depends. If you ask, it depends how urgently you need the money. Let's be real. If you have like, I don't know, 100,000 in the bank account, you shouldn't settle for a $1,000 per month client. You should just like take the time and really hunt the ideal clients. However, if you really urgently need the money to pay rent, of course you should accept also lower clients. But also what you should take into consideration, if you work with them, they will take a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, and it will take you more time to get to $10,000, that's my firm belief, than if you just hunt for 3 clients that pay $3,000, $4,000 per month. So it really depends on your budget and also on your self-esteem. I mean, if you cannot ask a client confidently for $3,000 per month, and you schedule 100 meetings and none of them says yes, of course, then you should change the offer, because 1 out of 100 will say yes. But also you need to build up that self-esteem, and if you feel more comfortable with a lower number, you can also do that. I just don't recommend it.
So yes, if we go a little bit deeper, like on the offering side, like how do you, like you have so many places where you can sell your services nowadays, and Upwork and by cold calls and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I think you should have a niche and a great offering for that niche. For example, you have the email marketing and many of niches like in the past years. But so do I. But you know, I think we can go a little bit deeper on the offering. What do you prefer? Like, how many packages would you have?
Yes. So what I would always recommend everyone, I mean, clients, you want the retainer. So if you have the retainers, the value that you provide exceeds the price, otherwise they will cancel. If you don't lock them into a 12-month agreement and they sue you. So what you should always charge is 10 to 20% of what you make them. So if you want to charge $3,000, you should at least make them $10,000 per month, and ideally without ad spend. Otherwise you should go to 10% of what you make them, because then they still need to cover the ad spend. So definitely, first of all, it has to be profitable for the client, otherwise they will not go on a retainer. Second of all, you should focus on a very big recurring problem. For example, if you build a website one time, yes, it's great, you can maybe charge 10, 20,000 if you have the right kind of startup. But the problem is that it will never be a retainer service other than the management fees for like domain and email hosting and those type of things. But you should always find something like media buying, content creation, video editing, or like email marketing. I mean, I do e-commerce email marketing because every month they can see the numbers, how much I make them, and I only have one offer. And I would also recommend you that you would ideally start off by having 3 offers, and then you can look which one is the easiest to fulfill, which one is the most fun, and also which one do the clients need the most that pay you a lot of money. So you can have consulting, you can have done with you, and you can have done for you. And in the beginning, you should always start with the done for you, because you have the most leverage and the most control over the project. If you have never led a team, because consulting you also need some management and or leadership skills. So if you don't have that, you should always start with the done for you, also because you can control it the most. However, if you want to make a lot of money, you should switch slowly but surely more to consulting, where you just give them the strategy, have a couple meetings a month, or maybe even 1 meeting a month, and you still can charge them maybe 2,000 instead of 3,000, because then they pay someone internally 1,000 to build the creators or write the copy or something. But ideally in the beginning you start done for you, also that you have the bigger picture and that you really understand that. And then to maximize the profit and to maximize the return on your time, you go to consulting, because that's really the biggest leverage.
Take notes.
Yeah, take the notes. I'm going to hunt you down.
So if, okay, that's the offering. But when we are going into sales, you have we have discussed a lot about this thing.
Yes.
Like one of the most important skills that freelancer has is the closing. And
Yeah,
the sales.
client acquisition is number one skill that you need.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about that.
Yes.
So how do you learn sales if you are a, let's say, content creator or or whatever you are?
Yeah.
And the sales part is like not your thing. Kind of.
Yeah.
How can you pursue the sales?
Yeah, so I was also very introverted. I hated sales, and I had like all the bad beliefs about sales, that you just make people buy things that they don't need for prices they don't have or money they don't have. However, sales really, if it comes down to one skill that you need to make a great income, it's sales. And there are different ways to generate client meetings. One of them is paid marketing, and one of them is organic marketing. Paid meaning paid, and organic meaning free. And I would never start with paid, because if you don't have your messaging, if you don't know who you're going for, and if you don't have some great case studies, you will just burn a lot of money, because everyone else is running paid ads with like great case studies, and you just cannot afford it if you don't have the messaging dialed down. What I would start first with is by going on Upwork, actually, because over there people have the biggest intent to hire a freelancer. If you send cold emails or cold calls in the beginning, then you have to be very good, or they will ask you for a lot of case studies. But if you go on Upwork, they already have the urgent need, and oftentimes on Upwork, their clients compromise on quality if they get speed. So if you are just the first one to respond, and the client maybe ideally also doesn't have that much of experience in the area that he wants to hire you, you can land the deal, and then you learn also what the clients value. But generally, you should always sell like a doctor, meaning you should ask all the questions first. You should really make them feel and understand that you care about their business, and you should know their numbers. For example, if you offer a $3,000 retainer to an e-commerce store that just started and they're making maybe $5,000 in revenue, they will never pay you that money just because they cannot. However, if you find out how much they are currently making, you can also charge a lot more. For example, same e-commerce store 1 year later makes $500,000 a month, and you ask them how much they make before you offer your pricing, and then you can adjust the pricing also to the upside. So it's very important that you ask questions up front, and then that you have a very clear process, that you also make them understand why they should buy it, for all the reasons like they cannot do it on their own, or they want to do it faster, and that you ask questions that lead them to say the things. If you tell them, look, you shouldn't do it because it will take so much more time, then they will think, okay, you try to persuade them. However, if you ask them, why wouldn't you do it on your own, and then they give you the answer themselves, then they don't feel like you. I think people get the concept. You plant the seed into their brain, but you have to ask the questions like a doctor, very intelligently, so that they think it was their choice and their idea.
That's good.
And, yeah, and also nothing beats a great salesman other than a great offer. If you would give people $1 million for $10,000 and they would be 100% sure that they would get it, they would buy it from the best salesperson, but they wouldn't buy the same offer if it would cost $10,000 and eventually they would maybe make $1 million. I mean, that's the lottery. Of course, some people will still buy it, but nothing beats a great offer. You should have a great offer. You should go for the right person also. I tried to sell to people that couldn't even make the decision. They said yes. And then they talked to the CEO, and the CEO said no because his cousin's son or whatever. you know?
Yeah.
Always make sure also that you're talking to the right person.
Yeah, that's true. If we are talking a bit more about landing the first client, I think
Yes.
Upwork is like a good place to have also the case studies in the first clients, because
Yes.
then you don't necessarily need to have the contracts and everything.
Yes, yeah, Upwork is great, as I said, because they have this intent already. Plus, also, usually on Upwork, people are a lot more flexible. They are not like the CEOs that only hunt for employers on LinkedIn and they want to see your CV. Upwork freelance clients are very easygoing on Upwork. And also the first clients, you should always get them by offering a money-back guarantee. Meaning you tell them, hey, and you should be transparent. You tell them, here is some sample work. If you design websites, want to design websites, design a couple of websites so that you have your portfolio. Then you tell the client, hey, this is what I can do. maybe don't tell them you never got paid, but you can tell them you're in the very early stages, so you don't have a big portfolio. And if the client isn't happy, you give him his money back, and you need to also offer a very short turnaround time. Meaning, if you would normally charge or like take, I don't know, 30 days for a website, try to make it in 7 days, because then the risk is also lower for the client, because he thinks, okay, in 7 days I will either have a great website or I will get my money back, but the chances are I have a great website for a very good price. So you should always start by giving the money back guarantees.
Yes. If we go a little bit deeper on the topic of this video, so how to make your first 10K.
Yes.
How did you make your first 10,000 per month, and like what is the receipt to do that? Like, is it just you do the boring stuff over and over again, send the cold emails and stuff, or what is it?
Yeah, so actually I started also the freelancing stuff.
And how much time did it take? Like,
it was unreasonably quick, to be honest. I couldn't comprehend it myself, because I knew one thing: I'm brand new, so no one will trust me and no one will believe that I actually have experience and can deliver great results. So what I did was I also started on Upwork, because I understood this buyer's intent that is very high over there. Plus you're also, they want to hire quick. They don't want to like take and interview 5 different agencies usually. So what I did was I accepted very low paying jobs, like 4 hours for $10 or so. In the first week I had a couple of those jobs, so then I had maybe 10 positive reviews, 5-star reviews. They were all super happy, because of course they didn't expect to get something like that for that price. And then with that I kind of legitimized myself as a real freelancer on Upwork. And after that what I did was I looked on all the services that had very high demand and low supply and big margins or price tags. And then what I found back in the days, like a couple years ago, e-commerce email marketing had unheard of amounts of budgets on Upwork, sometimes up to $10,000 for the flow setup, which is like a couple hours of work if you really know how to do it. But of course, because it makes so much money. So I understood, okay, I want to niche down, and I completely optimized my profile. First it was a generalist profile of I do marketing, and then it was e-commerce email marketing for, I don't know, health or gadget brands or something like that, and no dropshippers. So very specialized profile. And then the first clients, I just sent out 50 or 60 personalized proposals per day, and I also paid for you have to pay so that you can send out more. And I did all that, and then I landed some meetings, and in the beginning the clients weren't really convinced that I could deliver. So what I did was I signed up on Klaviyo and created some sample flows and creatives. So then whenever they asked me, oh, do you have experience? And on Upwork I also said I have some experience, but this is my new profile, so that's why I don't have any. But then when they asked me for experience, I could show them actual work, even though it was a sample, and I told them, but still. And then I also gave them the money back guarantee, and after like 1.5 weeks I landed the first client, which was an online pharmacy basically. And they paid me $1,250 I think. And then first I had like those $10 jobs, then I had one funnel for $500 that I fulfilled over the weekend within 7 days. And then maybe another 7 days later I had this $1,250 client. Then I had a $5,000 complete funnel for a coaching business. And then I had some website translation jobs. So for e-commerce also, conversion rate optimized copy. So I would say within 8 to 10 weeks I made the first $10,000 actually collected, not just getting a project but fulfilling, and then Upwork paid me within like 8 to 10 weeks.
That's good.
Yeah, but really it comes down to sending out those proposals. I was sending out proposals 8 hours a day, and in the beginning I sent out 100 to get one meeting. And now it's more like I get the invitations and I don't even send them out anymore, and I neglect almost every client. But in the beginning, as you said, it's the boring stuff, the stuff that no one wants to do, and that's the differentiator in the beginning. And I also think you started out cold calling, and that, you just have to do what hurts and what no one wants to do.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's how you make like your first 10K in 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm pretty sure that you found a way to make that per month. Right?
Yes, yes. So the website translation for this e-commerce store, I then sold them on an e-commerce email marketing setup. It was a one-time project that was around about $8,000. So from one client within like 3 months alone, I made $10,000, which was insane. And until this day, I have this client. They're the best clients you can imagine. And then after the $10,000 project was finished, I asked them, hey, I want to work with you in the long term. What can I do for you? Can we make a retainer out of this whole thing? And then they agreed on a $3,000 per month retainer. So that was the first one. Then I also, and that was like a couple of years already. So that's ideal, but I didn't have any client like this afterwards. So yeah, it was also a little bit of luck, but I sent out thousands of proposals, so it was deserved luck. And after that, I was going for some other projects, and yeah, I just neglected all the smaller projects. You really have to neglect them and tell them I can't work on small projects and qualify them first. Because if you always hunt the small deals, you are stuck in meetings, and in the end they will just ask you for the strategy, and then they will do it themselves because they don't have the budget. That happened so much to me that I was so sick and tired that I now have this very strong qualification process. I asked them how many hours, or like not hours, but how big is the scope of this project, what's your budget, what are your current numbers, and if it doesn't fit the criteria, then I'm sorry, I'm not the right one. And you just have to be so ruthless and reckless, because otherwise you will always waste your time with the small fish, but all you need is 3 whales that pay 3,000 to 5,000. And then I found some clients that paid me between $3,000 to $6,000 per month for their e-commerce email marketing. And of course I also became better. So sometimes, which was great, I also found other ways to monetize the business, meaning the businesses. So if one client had a big list and the other one also had a big list and they had similar products, then I cross-promoted and I got 10% of that. And with that I made, they made around about 38,000 in revenue, and I got 10%. So from sending 2 emails from 2 brands I was already working with, I made like $3,800. That was one of the best paychecks I ever had, trust me. And it's not easy to repeat that, but you have to be creative also, and it really comes down to finding those 3, 4, 5 ideal clients, and you just have to work with a lot of clients in the beginning, and then you realize which ones are the good ones. And you should not go for small startups. You should always go for the ones that already have like stable revenue, and you shouldn't sell basically new opportunity offers or like installations. In my opinion, I know you make great money with that, at least from the business model that I prefer for the consistent cash flow. You should always focus on a service that they can book on a monthly basis, where you optimize something like media buying, conversion rate optimization, e-commerce email marketing, compared to I will build you your website, or I will build your brand guidelines, which is a one-off thing most of the time. So that's also very important, and then all you need is 3, 4 clients.
True, true. About the outsourcing, like as a freelancer, that's also like big part of the thing. I think like when I started like all this stuff by myself, I think the first thing that I outsourced was of course the bookkeeping and stuff like that. But if we comes to like business, the first thing was I outsourced sales.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Have you what kind of processes have you outsourced?
Yeah. So generally, that's also, we can talk about that later a little bit more, but I'm not a great leader. That's something I realized early. I mean, maybe I could become one, but I don't want to do it also. I don't want to have a very big team, for now at least, and I don't think it's my biggest strength. And I work way more efficient if I work all on my own. However, some tasks that are low income tasks that you can outsource very cheaply, you should always outsource them, but I cannot talk much about it because I tried, for example, to automate cold email outreach. And I hired 27 VAs on Upwork, and to find one good one for the test after the test project, paid test project, and within a month I had to end the relationship because he was asking me for crazy amounts of money to help his mom for the operation and like crazy stuff, and he didn't deliver anymore. And then now with the video editing, I tried to hire also I tried 15 people on a test project, 14, 15. 3 were decent, and now they all didn't deliver on time on the first real after the paid project. So I think it comes down to really having those retainers, so that you need to send only 3, 4, or 5 invoices per day, per month, that you only have a certain amount of. And then if you want to build an agency, I mean, I think that's your strength. I have no idea about that. What I know is how to run a very high margin freelancing business, up to 10, 15,000 per month. But also and I also don't want to cap there, but what I realized is the only way I can go beyond that is if I leverage my time through video, meaning I'm consulting and selling frameworks. So if you don't want to do the done-for-you packages, you can only scale them so much. 10, 15,000 is, from my experience, if you don't make like crazy things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you want to scale beyond that, you really have to build your own personal brand so that you can sell frameworks and something that is optimized, where you basically sell the knowledge and the strategy, and then they implement on their own. But done for you is not scalable as one person. I tried.
I've tried that too. That's why we are here.
Yeah.
But that's also one important point that I think was important to discover also in this case, is that you should focus on the stuff that you are good at, and nobody is like, not everybody is good at, you know, leading a team.
Yeah, like,
that's not for everyone.
Yeah, you have to fire people, you have to manage their emotions. If their dog dies, they don't want to come to the office.
let's not go that much into it.
Yeah, okay.
So, couple last questions.
Yeah.
Big questions though.
Yeah, the big ones are the best.
What are the best clients? Like you also already mentioned that you think that you shouldn't go to startups and you know, just these early stage companies. But what do you think is the best client if we go on these 4 topics: email marketing, media buying, blah 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 blah?
Great question. And the answer is that it's relative for everyone, but my personal preference is that it's a company. I speak German as my main language, so for me the ideal client, and I had this a couple of times and it was always great. I hate German clients that are straight from Germany, but the clients I love are the ones that are in the US and they want to bring or already brought their their product to the market, like in my case Germany, but they don't have people in Germany that speak the language. So the great thing was, and this is also the secret how I got this one client, because all I had to do with them for the initial setup was I cloned all their funnels, everything that worked in English, perfectly optimized from someone. They hire a freelancer for $20,000 a month or something that builds all this, and then this framework I can clone it into the German account, and I can just translate the whole thing, basically make sure that, I mean, the backend is working. But that's how you really learn the skill from the best people in the world, is when they have that successful business in the US, for example, already, and then you bring it to another market and you just modify. That's how I learned the skill so insanely fast and on a very high level, because then you can also leverage their resources. I could use their in-house design team. I didn't like design. I could leverage this freelancer that they pay a lot of money, that he could also teach me a little bit. And so you should always look for a client where you can learn, that doesn't micromanage you, that can pay a lot of money, and that has financially stability, so that they can always pay. Plus, you have to like the people. If I don't like the people, even if they pay on time, I fired all of those clients lately, because it's just not fun and it destroys your mood.
Yeah. Okay, so the last question today. The location is important thing when it comes to freelancing and also money-wise things. You know, if you don't pay taxes, you can
go
check
to
this.
prison or live a great life.
No, you can check this photo, how much tax paying is affecting your account. So what do you prefer? Because as a freelancer, you can pretty much choose where you want to go, right?
Yes.
So what do you prefer?
I mean, you should first of all be where you like it. If you don't like it there's no sense. Second of all, you should always be in a city where you have the lowest tax rate possible, or in a country. So for example, if you're living in the US, even if you move outside the US, you will still have to pay tax, like in the US, other than I think Puerto Rico. But you should always optimize your tax. If you cut your tax to 0, like I did, you can double your income by doing that. And third of all, you should also go to a place where there are some sort of time zone overlaps with your clients. I mean, if you're doing certain services, you don't need the time overlaps. So if you have only 3 clients and you have 3 meetings per week, you can always stay up late or wake up early 1 day per week and have those meetings. But if you're a closer for a coaching offer and you're in Hong Kong or like you're right now in Bangkok and your clients are in the US, it's insane. I mean, it's 12-hour time difference, doesn't work. So you should always have that in mind also.
Yeah, but you know, many places like Dubai is one place where you can go with 0 taxes basically, and then there's a lot of other places that are also waking up this freelance thing and this digital nomad thing or whatever it's called. Bali is one, Singapore I think has one, Hong Kong. Yeah, so you can choose from those. But of course, like the first point that you have to like the place where you're at, and that's not a mandatory that you have to go somewhere.
Yes, or what also works in Dubai, for example, you only have to stay there, like you have to go through the airport basically 2 times per year, or at least have to be there for a short period for 2 times a year. But you can have 180-day breaks. In most countries, even or especially the ones that are tax-free, you have to stay there for at least 180 days of the year. So if you don't like Dubai, which is a great place, there's nothing bad, and like, don't get me wrong, but the other option is that you go to a place where you can travel a lot and still have your tax situation over there. But Dubai is ideal in every case, so I mean, it's just a place to go if you're European, for example.
Yeah. Okay, I think this was enough for today. So thank you, Julian, for attending this Larilehto interview stuff again. Drop us what would be the best name for these interviews that I am doing. Great work here.
Yeah, fantastic work. Best interview I've worked with this day.
Yeah, maybe Larilehto show.
Larilehto. Larilehto.
Yeah, you cannot spell my name. Thank you for watching, and drop down on the comments if you have anything to ask about freelancing, and make sure to follow Julian. These are his socials. I'm always mixing her and his because in Finland we don't have those words. But thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.
Yeah.